Welcome back to Double Down University. I'm back at you guys with another soccer PrizePicks video for June the 26th. I have 4 props for you guys. The first one is Bruno Zabelli over 0.5 shots assisted. Santiago Langolo over 38.5 passes attempted. The third one is Juan Pablo Vargas over 2 tackles, and Alejandro Maciel over 1.5 tackles. So let's get into it. The biggest thing that I've noticed from these South American games is that they're all lineup dependent on all of these games. And a lot of times in this Argentina league, which is the Belgrano and Banfield game, they release the lineups like super late. So and all of these picks are all formation based picks. So, and I'll kind of get into that with each pick as I detail and break them down. But yeah, the lineups release really super late, especially for like the Costa Rica and Panama game. I try to stay away from the Brazil league because they go to the extent where they don't release the lineups to super late. So let's get into it. So we have the first game. We have Belgrano versus Banfield. Belgrano is home, Banfield is away. Belgrano has an amazing home form. I think they've only lost once or twice this year at home. And Banfield has a really super poor road record. They're one of the worst teams in the league as far as points go, as they're second to last in the league. They're on 18 total points out of 20 matches, which is terrible. So we're going to look to try to take advantage of Banfield going up against Belgrano, who is the better home side. But possession-wise, so at home, Belgrano, they possess the ball 42% of the time, and Banfield 46% of the time. So really, that's pretty much even. Not necessarily too favored in one way or another. So with the first prop, the Zabella, his shots assisted. So let's go back. Shots assisted. Here we go. So for him, his is really formation based, and I'll show you guys why. So shots assisted, and he's at home. So I always like to filter out the home and away, and then I'll go back to like full, with no home or away splits. So for the home, he has soared over in the 4-4-1-1 and the 4-4-2. So keep an eye out on those two formations. If they are in any of those formations, take his over on 0.5 shots assisted. And then with no split home or away, same thing. He's going over in the 4-4-1-1 and the 4-4-2, as well as the 4-3-2-1. And I'll kind of show you guys how I determine like the formations and stuff. But it's simple. I broke this down in past videos too as well. So if you were to go to, let's go to their previous game. So the previous game, I think they played up in like a 4-2-3-1. Yeah, or 4-3-2-1. So basically all it is with the formations, I know some of you guys that's new to soccer get confused about like the lineups and what that means, the 4-3-2-1 and all that stuff. So basically all it is counting how many people are on each level of the formation. So the 4-3-2-1 that they were in last game, they have 4 center backs. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 center backs. So that makes it 4. That always starts the formation out, the number of the formation, as you can find right here where my cursor is, and that'll basically tell you the formation that they're in. So it always has 4 people it's either 4, 3, or 5 people in the back always in soccer. So each formation always starts off as a 3, 4, or 2. 3, 4, or 5, excuse me, depending on how many people are on this. This is called the back line. So how many people is on the back line. And then the midfield, sometimes they can split it up into 5 people, or they can split it up this way, how they have it, where it's 3 people in the furthermost towards the back line, which is 3 people. So you have Pereira, Longolo, and Hizar, and then you have Zabelli and Sanchez in the middle, so they're like more forward, progressive, attacking midfielders. And then you have Vigetti as the lone striker for their formation. So that's how you pretty much tell the formations. But moving on, so basically, and you can guys refer back to this video and go back through and listen to the video again once the lineups drop, to be able to find the right formation of what to take the over in. So like I said, the 4-4-1-1 for Zabelli, and the 4-4-2, as well as the 4-3-2-1. So moving on to the next pick. The next pick we had was Lagolo, his passes attempted. So for his passes attempted, the last formation that they were in is his best formation for passes attempted, the 4-3-2-1. So passes attempted, and let's see if we can find him. Here he is. So for him and home, let's go to the home splits. So at home, he's only going over in the 4-4-2 and the 4-2-3-1, but just barely in the 4-4-3-1. So 4-4-2 will be preferred, or the formation that they last played, which he only had one start in, which is the 4-3-2-1. He had 61 passes, and then, like I said, the 4-4-2 as well. So those two formations, be on the lookout for those two formations to take his over on passes. Everything else, every other formation, he's kind of just barely missed or went over, soared under. Like if they're in a 4-1-3-2, take his under because he only averaged 29 passes in that formation. And then the 5-4, if they have a back five, take his under because he only averaged 33.8 passes per game. But I expect Belgrano to go up early, and that will force the other team to kind of sit back. I don't think that Banfield will have too much possession because I'll show you guys right here in their strengths and weaknesses. So for Banfield, they are good at stealing the ball away from the opposition and creating chances through individual skill, protecting the lead, aerial duels. And they're one of the things that they're weakest at, and that bodes well for Belgrano, especially for passes attempted, is they're weak at keeping possession of the ball, so they don't keep possession of the ball very often. So that bodes well for the Belgrano side of things. And then they're also poor at defending counterattacks, which if they were to lose the ball, it will start a counterattack where the team will go the other way. So in basketball terms, it's kind of like a fast break. So I really like him in that spot as well. And like I said, all these are formation dependent. So moving on to the next one we had was, let's see here. What do we have next? So Juan Pablo Vargas, his tackles. So let's go to him. Juan Pablo Vargas. Let's see. So they actually bumped his up 0.5, but I still don't think that's enough. He has covered this line in 53% of the time. So, and then let's do the split of Costa Rica. So this is actually shots. Let's go over to tackles. So tackles, he has covered that in 41% of the time at 1.5. And if he's lined up in the 5-4-1, he averages 4 tackles per game. But let's also go over to his splits for his national team. So against Costa Rica, so playing for Costa Rica, he is, again, went over in 5-4-1 as well. So I really like that formation for him if he's in the 5-4-1. But that's pretty much what Panama kind of play, or Costa Rica kind of plays, is that strictly that 5-4-1 formation. So yeah, so I really like him, and as you can see, he soared over this line. Now, granted, the line now is at 2, so he should at least get a push on this line at 2. But he's just a tackling machine, especially playing for Costa Rica. He's been a tackling machine so far this year. So I really like his tackles. It should be a good game where both teams should be able to have possession, but I expect them to have less possession than Panama, and for them to kind of sit back, and that will force him to be on the defensive side, being able to go for tackles. And he plays center back as well. I don't know if I can go back to his recent history, but let's try. So Panama against Costa Rica. Let's look at their last played game. So they played each other recently in March. So in March, he played in a back five. Like I said, the formation that he goes over in, which is a 5-4-1, where they have one lone striker, 4 midfielders, and a back line of 5. And he kind of plays on this right-hand side of the back 5. And last time he played against them, he ended up with 7 tackles. So he went way over in tackles. And then I looked at his previous game, Costa Rica, when they played against Germany in the World Cup. And I think he had like 7 tackles as well. But he played on the opposite side of the back 5. And he had 4 tackles. So he went well over in both of those games with the national team. So like I said, they're a team that's going to pretty much sit back. And then one thing I'm going to go back and look at too when they played Costa Rica was, let's see. Oh, when he played Panama. I keep saying Costa Rica, but Panama. What was the possession percentage? That's key too. So actually Costa Rica possessed the ball 58% of the time, and Panama had the ball 42% of the time. But Panama was when they won 1-0. So Yeah, so I really like him in that spot. Vargas, and then Alejandro Maciel. I pretty much described it earlier. They struggle with retaining possession or keeping possession, so I expect him to be on the defensive side and be able to sit back and try to void off Belgrano from scoring. So with him, I don't know if they played each other. I think last time they played each other was like 4 or 5 years ago or something like that. Yeah, 2018. So take that with a grain of salt of them playing each other, because he might not have been in the squad or on the team at that time. But for his tackles, let's go to him. Tackles. So here he is. So he covered this line in 72% of the games that he's played in this year, and tackle wise. And he is on the road. So on the road, he is going over this line in a 4-4-2, a 4-3-3, and a 3-5-2, and a 4-4-1-1. So any of 3 of those formations or 4 of those formations, he should be able to go over in tackles. And then let's take off the split and just see total overall. So he pretty much clears this in every formation except for the 4-3-1-2. So this is a really, really good look as well for his tackles. So those are my 4 plays that I have for you guys. Also, you can also go back and what I would do is I'll put a timestamp on each one of these breakdowns, so that way you can go back and you can kind of just sift out what players, what formations they're in, and so you won't have to be scrambling when lineups come out. So I appreciate you guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And one more time, I'll go back over them for those, because sometimes the camera that's at the bottom right corner that has me in it kind of cuts off some of the picks. So we have Zabella over 0.5 shots assisted. We have Longolo over 38.5 passes attempted. And Juan Pablo Vargas over 2 tackles. And Alejandro Maciel over 1.5 tackles. So I appreciate you guys, and I'll see y'all next time.